In this video, you're going to get introduced to version control using Git. So first of all, let's understand what version control means. Let's say that you are developing a project and you'd like to keep a record of different snapshots of your project at specific moments in time. So let's create a folder for our projects and call it project version 1.0. So this is going to be the first version of your project. So you'd like to make changes inside this version and keep this version somehow safe when you move to the next version. So let's open this folder inside brackets. And let's create a file and call it file1.txt. And let's add some text inside. We are learning web development, for example. And let's create another file, call it file2.txt, and let's write something like coding is fun. So this is the current snapshot of our projects. So we would like to keep this one safe. So before we make any changes, we're going to create a new copy of this folder and call it version 1.2. So now, or 1.1. So now we know that our first version is safe and we can always go back to it and check its different files. Now let's open the new version in brackets and make changes inside it. Let's add a new line inside file1. And now let's move to the next version. And we can keep going like this and carry on over and over, creating new folders all the time. And this is obviously going to be laborious work, and nobody really enjoys doing this. Also, you need to go back to each of these folders and create a file inside with a description saying what changes you have made. So for example, created file1.txt and file2.txt and added one line in each. Now this is obviously not the way it is done in real life, because there are so many tools that are used for version control nowadays. So the favorite tool that is used by developers is called Git. So this is the one we're going to be using in our course. So let's head to the Git website and check it out. So Git is a free and open source version control system. It is known for its speed and efficiency, and you can use it to handle any size of projects. So to download or install Git, you can click on the download button, then click on this link if the download doesn't start quickly. So you'll be directed here and the download should start shortly. So you just click on save, and once your file is downloaded, you just click on it and you keep clicking through the installation process and you will get Git installed on your computer. Now, once you get Git installed, you just head to your terminal and check that Git has been installed successfully by checking the version of Git by typing the command git version like that. So this will print the version that you've installed on your computer. Now let's understand Git in a really easy way. So on the left hand side, you can see your working environment. So this is normally the content of your projects folder, where you've got your files, where you create those files, delete them, update them, and so on. So that's your working environment. So you can access this environment directly from your computer or by using a text editor like brackets, where you manage files and update them. Now, remember that we are using Git to create snapshots of this project folder or this working environment at specific moments in time. But you don't have to include everything inside your snapshots, right? You may be interested in tracking the changes of only one file. And that's why Git comes with the concept of a staging area. The staging area is the area where you're going to have the files you want to watch. So for example, we can decide to watch only file 1 and file 2. And in this case, we're going to stage those two files. So when you stage files, you pass them to the staging area. So now you told Git that in the next snapshots, I'm going to look at file 1 and file 2, and I'm going to ignore file 3. I'm only interested in these two. So staging means that you are preparing these files to be committed, and that's the next stage or the next step. So committing your changes or your files means that you are creating a snapshot using Git, and that snapshot is going to include only the files that you staged. So now our snapshot is going to consist of these two files, and it will reflect their state at the moment in time when you created the snapshot. Now we are inside the Git repository. Now the Git repository or the Git directory is the place where Git stores your snapshots of committed work. Now once you make a snapshot like this, you can go back to your work, continue making changes to your files, and then stage the files you would like to commit next time, then commit them once you are ready, then create a new snapshot of your project. And you can keep doing the same thing, changing files, staging them, and then committing them like this and creating another snapshot. Let's do this one more time. And here we go. We ended up now with 4 snapshots. Now normally when you make a snapshot like this, you attach a message to it explaining what changes you made inside that snapshot. Now remember, why do we need all these snapshots? Well, we said that we would like to track the progress of our projects and see what changes took place at different moments in time. Now there is another use of having these snapshots stored inside our Git directory, and that's just in case you would like to revert to one of these snapshots in the future. So let's say that we are not happy with the current state of our project and we would like to go back to this snapshot, for example. Then using Git is pretty easy. You just need to check out the project using that stored snapshot. So we are using that snapshot to check out whatever content we had in that snapshot, and the consequence of this is going to be replacing the content of our working environment with whatever content we had inside that snapshot. Now let's understand how Git works in a more visual way. So for now, we're going to focus on our local Git repository, and we're going to be looking at the master branch. So for now, you don't have to worry about the branching concept, as we're going to be covering it later. But just remember that we've got only one branch, meaning that any changes that we make to our project are going to follow the same process flow. So one branch only. So any files that you will see appearing here are going to be the staged ones, which means that they're going to be prepared to be committed to create snapshots. So let's start by creating our first file, file1.txt. Now, if you commit here, you're going to create a snapshot and you can attach a message to your commit saying created file1.txt. Now, if you make some changes to your file, adding 3 lines, for example, and then you commit, that's another snapshot, and the message could be added 3 lines to file1.txt. Now let's make some further changes. So here we're going to change that line and we're going to add 1 extra file, and we're going to be committing and saying we created that file, added 1 line to it, and updated the last line in file 1. Now suppose that you are not happy with the changes that you made to file 1 after you committed, because you realized that that change has messed up your file. So you decide at this point to go back to snapshot 2. So using Git is pretty easy to do this. So you just need to check out using snapshot 2, and now you will revert to that state like that. And you can now start working again from that state. So you can go again, make changes to your file, delete a line, for example, add a new file, and then commit again. Now the next step is to carry out all these events using the command line by applying this to a real project folder. And that's what you're going to do in the next video.